On inCycle this week, we shine a light on the inner workings of a Grand Tour team with Etixx-QuickStep.
7 years I'm working almost full-time in cycling, so you can say that cycling is actually just 24/7 in my life here.
We also go inside race route design with the Aviva Women's Tour of Britain's race director Andy Hawes.
We're just checking. Obviously there's some defects in the road. We can see that Derbyshire Highways have been round and marked it up, so they're marked up ready for repair. So they should be repaired and all fixed and complete by the time the race comes through.
Bauke Mollema talks about his Tour de France ambitions.
The whole year, the focus is on the Tour de France for me.
But first, an atypical cycling journey with Primoz Roglic. There are many routes into professional cycling, but few have taken the path of Team Lotto NL Jumbo's Primoz Roglic. A former junior world champion ski jumper for Slovenia, injury saw Roglic trade the skis for the saddle, and after a meteoric rise through the ranks, the Lotto Jumbo rider found himself on top of the podium after stage 9 of the Giro d'Italia.
Quite a long time ago I started with my 8 years. Quite young with ski jumping. Then I was quite good, but at the end just lack of motivation, also some problems with injuries with my knees, and I quickly decided to change my sport.
This man, though, was the real surprise package of the day. The Slovenian rider in the colours of the Dutch team Lotto NL Jumbo, a former ski jumper himself, Primoz Roglic. He went off very early in the day, and when he crossed the line, he set a time that no one could come close to beating.
I sold my motorbike and buy for the first time for myself a road bike. I was immediately good, and I just thought why not I should try. In both sports have to be skinny, and in both sports has strong legs, but just the muscles I think are really different. In ski jumping you need just quick one, explosive one, but here you also need explosive at the end obviously, but more like for endurance.
And Roglic hasn't looked back since. Now, rather than hurtling down ski jumps, he's discovered a natural ability for climbing, picking up the GC at both the Tour d'Azerbaijan and his home Slovenian Tour.
I just wanted to be always the best. I want to do always the best, to see how quick I can go, how good I can be, and just develop. I get opportunity, luckily, to start in Slovenian team. So I was dreaming to win my home stage because it's really something different when you're racing at home.
Impressive results that saw Roglic win a contract at Team Lotto NL Jumbo, where he quickly showed his talent.
Primoz is the new guy in the team with a very unusual background as a ski jumper. I don't think ever a ski jumper made it to professional cycling, so that's pretty special. And I think he's a big talent, and he's making progress. He has a big engine, which is really important in cycling, especially in the races he rides.
After riding in the Tour Down Under, Tirreno Adriatico and Volta Catalunya, Roglic's next test was the Giro. And whilst Lotto NL Jumbo were optimistic speaking ahead of his Grand Tour debut, not even they could have predicted quite how successful a debut it would turn out to be.
Primoz Roglic turned the tables on everybody on this particular time trial stage to take his first ever Grand Tour win, his first ever Grand Tour.
When he comes good out of the Giro, he can improve his level just by riding a big tour. And because he doesn't have the background in cycling, I think the margin of improvement is bigger than any other rider.
Whilst Roglic may have gone into the Giro looking only to help the team, he found himself thrust into the limelight. A remarkable effort in the opener in Apeldoorn saw Roglic come within 1/100th of a second of spoiling Tom Dumoulin's day on home roads. But in the rain in the Chianti time trial on stage 9, it was the Slovenian's turn to taste success as he claimed the stage in his first Grand Tour. With Roglic's performances along with Kruisweg's 5 days in pink, the 2016 Giro d'Italia was certainly a rosy one for Team Lotto NL Jumbo. The 9th round of the UCI Women's World Tour moved to Philadelphia for the Philadelphia International Cycling Classic. 6 laps of 19.8 kilometres would make up the 118.7 kilometre distance in total. The big favourite was Megan Guarnier, the UCI Women's World Tour Leaders jersey wearer, winner of the Amgen Tour of California and the US National Championships in the past 2 weeks. The opening kilometres of the race were fast and furious, but no attack would stick until Lemon Hill, where Lauren Stevens from Tipco's Silicon Valley Bank and Ale Cipollini's Anna Trevisi went clear, and they'd soon be joined by Mika Kroger from Canyon SRAM. But despite the trio's hard work, with 2 laps to go, the peloton was all bunched up again. More riders would give it a try but proved to be unsuccessful, and it all came down to the last climb up the wall, where Guarnier put in a big dig and dropped her opponents. She then soloed to the line and won her second UCI Women's World Tour race in as many weeks. Wiggle high fives, Elisa Longo Borghini and Canyon SRAM Racing's Alena Amaliusiuk would round out the top 3. In the overall classification of the UCI Women's World Tour, Guarnier keeps the lead, and she now has an advantage of 226 points over Emma Johansson. Armitstead is 3rd, and Longo Borghini climbed up to 5th place in Philadelphia. The World Tour Leaders jersey still belongs to the US champion, Guarnier. The 3 Grand Tours are the pinnacle of stage racing in professional cycling. The first of the season, the Giro d'Italia, proved to be a real success at the top for Etixx-QuickStep. 4 stage victories, the Maglia Rosa on the back of Marcel Kittel, Gianluca Brambilla and Bob Jungels. The latter also finished the Giro in the white jersey as best young rider. But 3 weeks of racing also takes its toll on the riders, and it's the support of the team behind the scenes that lays the foundation for the headlines and the achievements on the road.
Cycling is everything in my life. I'm Anthony Powells. I'm 28 years old. I'm a physical therapist and osteopath, and this is my 3rd year working for Etixx-QuickStep. I have a brother, his name is Serge. He's a professional cyclist for Dimension Data, and my girlfriend is Amy Louise Cure. She's a professional cyclist for the AIS in Australia. 7 years, I'm working almost full-time in cycling, so you can say that cycling is actually just 24/7 in my life. Yeah. For Etixx-QuickStep, I'm working as a physical therapist and an osteopath, but also doing the tasks of a soigneur actually. So I do most of the tasks as a soigneur, like waking up early with them, prepare breakfast for the riders. I'm in charge of the bottles as well. But during the day we go to the feed zone. After the race we do massage as well. But if it's necessary, we do treatments as a physical therapist or an osteopath. It is a pleasure to work with cyclists because they're so aware of what's going on in the body, of course. We just try to keep the body in balance and prevent them from injuries. The biggest part of my job actually starts when the riders get back in the hotel. And that's what sometimes it's hard to understand, that we work until 10 o'clock at night or even 10:30 at night. Even if you're tired or you have been had long days, if you get results, that makes you go even more, go even harder. That motivates the staff for sure.
With the stage win would come the race lead. That is the situation that he can now savour.
Gianluca Brambilla is one of the guys that is always on my table for a massage. He's just a beautiful person, and we have a very good connection. We've done a lot of training camps together, and it's always a pleasure working with him. This Giro was already a very good success for us. I think the team couldn't have hoped for a better start for this Giro. And then as soon as we got into Italy, everything went right. I'm already selected for the Rio Olympics to go for the Belgian national team. There's also a high chance that my brother will be selected for the road race. Amy is training for the Rio Olympics for the team's pursuit. So if Serge is going to be there, if Amy is going to be there, then it's a bit of a family reunion. For me, Etixx-QuickStep is really a cycling family, and I think everybody can confirm that Etixx-QuickStep is just a bunch of friends working together. I do love cycling a lot now because it suits my life. Traveling around with the team, seeing a lot of the world, to be with the team, to work with colleagues that are also very interested in cycling. Yeah, I couldn't imagine me doing any other job at the moment.
When a race comes to town, it brings with it the glitz, glamour and excitement of the pro peloton. Whilst thousands see this excitement, few see the months of work that goes in beforehand to ensure the race goes ahead. inCycle spent the day with Andy Hawes, route director for the Tour of Britain, as he and his team put the finishing touches to stage 3 of this year's Aviva Women's Tour.
We're in the marketplace, right in the centre of Ashbourne, in the middle of the Derbyshire Dales. There's a process that we go through to decide where we're going to start and finish, and it was decided that Ashbourne was to be the ideal starting place for stage 3 of the Aviva Women's Tour. Today is the final route recce for stage 3, so we'll just be checking the road surfaces are still in very good condition. We'll also go marking up the areas for my technical team so they know where the sprints are going to be, where the Queen of the Mountains location is going to be. And then the first stop will be in Buxton, where we'll mark up the first sprint of the day.
Andy and his team cover every inch of the race route multiple times, checking the road surface and potential hazards to ensure the day goes ahead safely.
We're just checking. Obviously there's some defects in the road. We can see that Derbyshire Highways have been round and marked it up, so they're marked up ready for repair. So they should be repaired and all fixed and complete by the time the race comes through in 4 weeks' time. This right turn, Duncan, will be one of the major holding points to stop the traffic coming into Buxton. So just need to get somebody up here as quickly as we can. So we're at the foot of the first Queen of the Mountains in Allport, just about to mark up where the technical signage is going to go. This is actually the longest climb on the whole of this year's Women's Tour, just over 4 kilometres in length. So it's going to be a good test for the women. It's a pretty steady climb up. It's around sort of between 6 and 8% all the way up. It's about 10%. A little bit in the middle, and then it just sort of like eases out over the top. So it's not so much the severity of this climb; it's the length. So we're really spoilt for just about every sort of type of terrain that you could possibly want at the stage of a race. So nice steady climbs. We've got some short punchy climbs, and then obviously a bit later on in the stage we've got Bank Road in Matlock, which really is like a real sharp test. It's only 1 kilometre long, but around sort of like 18–19% for that 1 kilometre. That's going to be a real sort of test of strength.
The race organisers do these checks time and time again, painstakingly going through every possible outcome with one main focus.
Rider safety is paramount. It's why we do everything that we do. We've obviously gone through all of the routes. This will be the 3rd drive of this route. And every time we go through, we pick up new little bits and pieces. And this builds into a very comprehensive route risk assessment. We do look at everything, and it really is important for us to make sure that come the day, we've done absolutely everything that we can do to ensure that the rider's safety is the top priority of the day.
With 2,000 metres of climbing and at over 100 kilometres in length, the Queen stage of this year's Aviva Women's Tour is a daunting one, with the last test waiting for the riders at the finish.
We're in Chesterfield, in the Market Square, the finish for stage 3 of the Aviva Women's Tour. Just over 109 kilometres after leaving Ashbourne this morning. The finish is just 250 metres behind me there. Going to be quite a great finish, quite narrow, so should get good atmosphere, and also cobbled, so the last sort of 350 metres are going to be run off on cobbles. So all the sort of climbing that we've put them through and the descending, just to finish them off, just to really make their day, we've got the cobbled section for them.
As the final preparations are put in place for this year's race, attention turns to the future for the race and its role in women's cycling.
We have got the continued sponsorship for Aviva for the Women's Tour this year. We will be looking for title sponsors for the Women's Tour and for the Tour of Britain from next year. The event has grown quicker than even we thought it probably would. You know, this is only the third year. The second year we got a HC category, and obviously this year we've gone to World Tour. So to be part of that in 3 years, I think is just a measure of the sort of like the excitement that's behind women's cycling at the moment, and we just want to grow on that.
To be a contender at the Tour de France requires a special focus and dedication. To perform on cycling's biggest stage, a mental toughness not all riders possess. Preparation begins months in advance, and the Tour can be lost before a crank is even turned. For someone like Bauke Mollema, his favourite time of the year is fast approaching.
Actually, the whole year, the focus is on the Tour de France for me. There are other nice races as well, and of course I want to show myself there and have good results. But the Tour de France is the main target. This is the race where you want to peak, and what we live for the whole year. Also mentally, with your training sessions and your preparations.
And when your sole focus is on the Tour, you leave no stone unturned, familiarising yourself with roads, vitally important come those 3 weeks in July.
I haven't marked a specific stage. I reconned a lot of stages already. The last 5 stages in the Alps. I reconned Mont Ventoux and the first big time trial. There are many stages where I want to ride in the front, but it is the Tour de France and you have to take it day by day. And the last couple of years you can see that the breakaway can stay away till the end. So you get a race within a race, the breakaway and the GC riders in the peloton.
Heading for his 6th Tour de France, Mollema has fine-tuned his preparation from last year. The Trek Segafredo man has adjusted his race schedule to complement his high-altitude training in Spain.
I
have a different approach than last year, especially because I rode Romandy as well. Last year I did Norway in May, and this year I planned my altitude training earlier. Last year I did it right after the Dauphiné, and basically went straight from there to the Tour. This year I skipped Norway and did the altitude training instead. And after the Dauphiné I will do another one, in the hope that that will have a big effect from that climbing at altitude.
And that altitude training is going to be needed.
I
think in this year's Tour you have to be ready from the start. I think the first week is harder than last year, because before the first rest day in the first 10 days you have already had the Pyrenees. And last year we got the Pyrenees after the first rest day. We also have a hard stage in the Massif Central, and stage 5 is a hard finish. So I think the first week is going to be the hardest one. Personally, I like it. A hard first week with a lot of long stages, so that means a lot of hours on the bike in the first 10 days. And I think that might affect the GC, and by the time we reach the Pyrenees, some guys have started to become really tired. And I hope I can handle that really well.
And Mollema has some added firepower to call upon this year. With veteran rider Heijstal and climbing domestique Peter Stettiner now among the ranks, plus the ultra experience of Heima Soelia and Frank Schleck, Trek ooze Tour de France know-how.
I can't
choose the riders to bring to the Tour. That decision is for the team management. Of course, I am part of the decision. I talk to the management, I give my opinion about it, and tell them my opinion on which rider would be good for the team on the Tour. I think that we're on the same level with that. I think we have a strong team this year in the Tour, a mix between talent and experienced riders. And I think you need that at the Tour de France.
Now aged 29, Mollema's still looking for his big breakthrough. The aim this year is to improve on his best placing of 6th and pull himself up onto the podium.
I
think we all know the favourites, with Froome, Quintana, Contador. Those do it for me. And after that, there is a group where I think I belong as well, that can ride top 5 or even top 3 if everything goes as planned. Guys like Van Garderen, Poort, Bardet, Pinot, and I hope I can ride around these guys as well. I'm not the big favourite. There are a lot of guys that have already won a Grand Tour, or even won the Tour de France, and that gives a different pressure of how to engage in the Tour. The last 2 years, I rode a steady top 10 with 7th and 6th, and I hope to improve on that this year. But because of this, I'm not in the spotlight for the preparations. But I think I have a pretty good basis now, and I'm on schedule for a very good Tour.
That's all for this week. Don't forget to join us next time, but until then, keep up to date with us on social media.